Now, I don't agree with everything that Brian Johnson says or does, but it's not for me to agree with him. He's smart, he's educated, he's innovative, he's putting himself and his body out there for the benefit of all of us. I love that. And more importantly than anything, or as importantly, he actually has the money to carry it out. Please watch this video in its entirety. This is an essential video that will redefine how you approach aging and appearance.
And people were suggesting, I was one step away from death. This caused me to lose a lot of fat, including in my face. When I went out in public, people were like, wait, is this guy gonna die? So there was a big disconnect between the success we were feeling as a team and the perception.
The importance of facial fat.
It turns out that facial fat is really important to how someone gauges someone else's youthfulness. They would look at my face and say, that guy's old. So in response, we said, we're going to do Project Babyface. Finally, I did under eye PRF, but it does in fact work and revolumize what you see disappear over time with age. The first thing I did is Sculptra. Next is I tried Renuva.
We will be challenging the misconceptions that undermine your longevity journey with new facts, ones that you can implement today. I'll show you graphs.
The problem was, no matter how good my biomarkers were, they would look at my face and say, that guy's old. So in response, we said, we're going to do Project Babyface. We know that in our youth, we have a lot of facial fat, that over time, it lessens. In fact, in your 20s, you start losing 1% of your collagen every year. So by the time you're 80 years old, you've lost 75% of what you had in your early 20s. We wondered, could I rejuvenate my face so I had much more volume?
You see, so he lost facial fat, and when fat in the face is the holy grail of youth.
But when I went out in public, people were like, wait, is this guy gonna die? So there was a big disconnect between the success we were feeling as a team and the perception. It turns out that facial fat is really important to how someone gauges someone else's youthfulness.
And people lose facial fat from calorie restriction, like a lot of the studies in mice that show if we restrict their diet, they live longer. Now, these are studies in mice, so keep that in mind, not humans, but people are doing this caloric restriction.
This is me 1 year ago. This is me 4 months ago. And here I am today. What happened? I used to get a lot of hate, and people were suggesting, I was one step away from death. That caused a lot of reflection. And then I was like, off. Okay, so how did we get here? If you remember, when I started this project, we were trying to evaluate how close we are to being able to stop death. And the way we did that is we looked at all the scientific evidence on what you could do to slow down and reverse aging damage. And one of these therapies is known as caloric restriction, which means if a person like me consumes 2,500 calories a day to maintain the same weight, you'd reduce that. And so my caloric intake was 1,950 calories, substantially less. This caused me to lose a lot of fat, including in my face. So people started comparing me to Tilda Swinton.
The other ways you can lose face fat, it happens naturally with age. What about dissolving? A lot of people feel like if they get hyaluronidase to dissolve fillers, then this can also remove their facial fat. Other people see loss of facial fat through devices, HIFU, high intensity focused ultrasound. Some people with Ulthera uses a form of that. There's RF, radio frequency. And so there's many ways we lose facial fat, but it is a normal part of aging and photo damage or sun damage. You can see in his case, he lost body fat and that made him look older. And then he got those kind of hate comments, which I'm familiar with.
People use things like fillers to compensate for the loss of volume. It's why a face can look plump and round, but it's just filler. It's just masking the problem. We wanted to figure out if we could use legitimate rejuvenation technologies to restore volume in my face. I did under eye PRF, and that is when you do a blood draw and you separate the red blood cells from the plasma, and then you put the plasma back in the body. And this is what I did for my sprained ankle. It's what you can do for hair growth, which I don't do anymore. You can also do for under eye. And so over time, you lose volume under your eye, And there's only really two ways to revolumize. One is with filler, the other is this under eye PRF. The problem with filler is it can migrate and it become a nightmare. So I would strongly recommend you do not do filler under eye. It can be very complicated.
So I have a video on when I was in Colombia kite surfing. I got some sand in my eye. My under eye filler blew up. Then I dissolved it, and probably there's still some in there, of course, because you usually don't dissolve it all. But I have mainly PRF under my eye as well. One other thing of note here, you take the plasma out, but what's important in the plasma, what's important in the aliquot of your PRF, why the spin is important, the spinner, the angle, and the G-force, is you want your own exosomes, your own secretomes, your own mesenchymal stem cells, and growth factors, especially epidermal growth factor. There's many that I outline in my tutorials, but how you spin your blood to get all that goodness is key. If you just put plasma back, which we do use in a gel form for volume, but if you just put the plasma back, you won't get the regenerative factors. So the spin you use is very important. Let's hear more from him.
And I do under eye PRF 3 times per year right now. Under eye PRF is helpful because it helps revolumize the lost volume. Also, it only lasts for like 3 to 6 months. So it needs to be something you repeat on a continued basis, but it does in fact work and revolumize what you see disappear over time with age.
You see what he said? It revolumizes. A lot of the haters, a lot of the couch potato critiques who have pseudoscience and might critique me for what I actually do in my clinic and treat real patients in real life, say it doesn't volumize, it doesn't affect the fat pads. I see this in my patients in real life. Why are they keep coming back to me for it? Yes, you need a few sessions. I do 2 sessions, 6 to 8 weeks apart, and then I'll see everyone depending on your aging rate, your fat amount in your body, and so on. Because you do get bone loss if you're losing estrogen around the age of 50 or 60, you're going to need more. But in general, 2 sessions, 6 weeks apart, and I'm going to then repeat that every year on average. That's because a lot of you guys are using great skincare, topical skincare, and LED light, maybe even RF, like if you're using the right RF, that can all help to revolumize and get your products into where they can work. So you don't need it that often. For a guy like him, he's high strung, he's got high metabolism, he's very lean, and he has the money. People that I treat with the money, yeah, they come in every 3 or 4 months.
The first thing I did is Sculptra, which is a biostimulator. It's injected into certain regions of the face. For example, the temples, right around the mouth, through here. It's designed to allow your body to naturally produce collagen.
Those same cameras, I use 3D imaging in my clinic to look at my results. And of course, we can look at sunspots, brown spots, reds, measure facial volume down to less than millimeters. And we can look at vectoring, so lifting of the face. So those cameras are amazing. And I use a 3D version.
So instead of putting filler in the face, which just expands in volume, you're getting actual collagen production.
So as an aside, something like Sculptra, 2004, it was FDA approved in this country. I was using it even before then because people with AIDS, HIV, they were on medications, AZT and such, and they reduce facial fat. So you could pick them out from a long distance, and they were shunned. And it was approved in Europe. So people would bring their Sculptra over, and we were allowed to inject it in them on a compassionate ground because they lost facial fat. They had facial atrophy. What he's describing is a very similar thing in that there was profound facial fat loss, in his case from calorie restriction. You can see it makes people look much older.
My protocol has been doing 2 vials every 6 months. I think the company recommends 1 per year, so I've exceeded what they're recommending. Also, I was compensating from a place of pretty serious deficit, not starting as a maintenance mode of 1 vial per year at say age 28 and going through time. I didn't do any until I was age 46 and I'd lost a lot of weight. So I've been trying to play a little catch up, but Sculptra is first. Next is I tried Renuva, which is fat transfer. Now, ideally...
Great points here. Number one, the company doesn't recommend anything. They can't. A doctor will recommend after consultation looking at your face. So it's key to have a good consult. But to his point, you see he did 2 vials or something like that. He said every 6 months. When I look at a face, the maximum I'll do at one sitting would be 3 vials. Most commonly, it's 2 vials. And I might repeat that at 6 weeks and at 6 weeks again. So someone might get 6 vials, 7 vials in a year. We don't inject sooner than 4 to 6 weeks because we want to see what the effect is. Some people are going to produce more, some less. So you don't have to be very quick with injecting this. You don't have to get it all done because it's a long-lasting product that's going to last you 2 to 5 years. Why the maintenance, like he said? Well, the reality is that we age every day. He's trying to reverse that. Very cool. But because you might get sun damage, maybe some people are drinking, they're not sleeping, they're not eating real food. Maybe they lost hormones. Maybe they're 45 to 55. You're going to need much more replacement with the biostimulator like PLLA, which is Sculptra poly-L-lactic acid, which, by the way, is made from beets and corn and metabolizes from your body at anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to carbon dioxide and water. So it doesn't stay. It's not permanent. It builds as collagen and goes. And if you're worried about scar tissue in the face, watch my videos on that. Very important conversation. I won't get into that, but I have videos on it that describe that well. And the reality is, yes, you can have a facelift after Sculptra, no problem. Many, many, many of my patients do. So you see where you put it and how you put it and how much you use depend on your result. I never put it in the lips, around the mouth, and I have it in my face. And in fact, I used it a little in the lower face a couple of years ago. I got a little nodule here. That's normal. It will go away. But I know where I put it was a high-risk zone, and I have a concentric muscle around the mouth like we all do and around the eyes. So we never use it in those areas, and you never ever use it in the neck. One of the reasons in the neck is a neck nodule, should you get it, like I have right down here, you can't see it, but you can feel it. Who cares that you can feel it? It's all about how it looks. So don't worry about the nodules, but I wouldn't do that for a patient, but I did it for myself because I know what it is. But if you use it or someone put it in your neck and you got a nodule in your neck, you cannot ignore that nodule because neck cancer, thyroid cancer, a site of metastases of cancer is often the neck, and that needs to be biopsied. So nodule rate in the neck is high, no matter, and 14 years ago, we did dilutions of 36 to 1 because Sculptra comes in a powder. It's dried. In the vial, you're going to get carboxymethylcellulose, mannitol, which helps dry it out, and of course the PLLA. And then we put water in to dilute it. So I used, and there was 3 of us involved in that kind of little study. We used 36 to 1 dilution, still got nodules in the neck. The rate was too high. Avoid it in the neck.
So I've been trying to play a little catch up, but Sculptra is first. Next is I tried Renuva, which is fat transfer.
So I don't use Renuva in my practice. My patients don't want DNA and products from other people. Renuva is from other people, as you'll see here.
Concerned that if we tried to extract any fat I had, I would leave an indentation on my body. And so I used a donor's fat. When I did this, I had an extreme allergic reaction. In fact, the first day I did it, I met up with a reporter to a story for Bloomberg, and on my way home, I blew up. Like I couldn't even see out of my eyes. I called him, I said, just a heads up, I'm gonna show up. It's me, you may not recognize it, but don't be scared. Because of the allergic reaction, we discontinued it. Now, sadly, it was a promising technology. We were excited about it, and we thought it might be a real—
Poor guy, huh? So like you're using something from someone else's body. I don't want that, so I don't do it for my patients. Is it a moneymaker? Sure. Anytime you have something that's not autologous, not from yourself, you risk the reaction to it. And of course, like I said, it comes from other people. Do you want that? If you do, it's totally cool. It's not for me or my patients. Now, what about your own fat transfer? He had a very common problem. I don't have fat on my body, so I can't, to go harvest fat and go put it in. The take rate will be anywhere from 60 to 90%, depending on who's doing it, how they process your fat, and where they're putting it. So imagine that up to 40% might not take. And that lends itself to irregularities of where the fat went. So you might need a touch-up. Now, when you need a touch-up of fat, you're going to have to go reharvest it again. And I really don't want a divot of where you maybe took my fat for the small amount of fat that I do have. So you see the problem with fat. But what about autologous? What about your own? Well, that is, of course, where PRF comes in.
The past few years has been wild. When I started Blueprint, I did not expect it to be a global phenomena. I did not expect to be scrutinized by everyone in the world. I did not expect to be compared to the most aesthetically pleasing, beautiful people in the world.
Welcome to the world. Of course, he's famous for many reasons, but anyone near 1 million or 1 million plus YouTube subscribers, welcome. That's the world in which we live. So triple think it if you want this type of a career.
People who have been on top of their aesthetic game their entire life. Growing up in a small community, no one really cared about aesthetics. You're just expected as you age to get fat, go bald. So
I grew up in Eastern Canada, tough, rough part, and I hear you.
I didn't apply face cream, for example, ever in my entire life until I was in my early 40s. I never played the aesthetics game. And it only, of course, became relevant when I started this endeavor and aesthetics became a meaningful part. It's been a complicated one because I've been trying to, of course, demonstrate something that's never been done before. And so it's hard, of course, for people to understand context.
Huge congrats to him for that. I love that. Thank you, Brian.
I do think we are at this meaningful moment in time where we are evolving as a species into something else. And I'm trying to indicate like this is a promising path for us to pursue. And so sometimes I do feel saddened that the project is by itself evaluated solely on face fat or some other aesthetic component and not upon these comprehensive biomarkers we have. But you know what?
You see the pressures here, and I think unfortunately in society for women, it's 10x than the men. It is the way it is because certainly I feel him. He's expressing that too. And I just think for women, it's much even harder.
This movement needs to succeed. And to do that, there are some criteria, including volume in a face that need to be met. I understand. I mean, the objective was, can I be biologically similar to my 18-year-old in every way, shape, or form? Now that sounds inconceivable.
Two great looking guys, huh? Nice.
But with enough time, is it? That is a question I think worth asking. As we head into the future, many of our preconceived notions may be challenged by things that come to pass. And when they do, I think it's going to be best for all of us to say, you know what? I have an idea about reality, but I'm wide open to thinking differently. And I think aging and health and wellness is going to be one of those things.
100%, 100%. And I know you guys on this channel believe that too, health and wellness. And if you are choosing one, it's health and wellness. And aesthetics is much secondary to that, of course. Brian Johnson, a man known for his innovation in pushing the limits of aging, has landed on a truth I've talked to you about for 2 decades. Face fat, PRF, Sculptra, and biostimulators. For 25 years, I've been on the front lines of aesthetic medicine, sculpting faces, restoring youth, wellness, and battling all of the skeptics. Now you see why I don't respond to these skeptics, because of this graph here. Look here, this is the interest in PRF over time as per Google Trends. This is just one example, but this is PRF. Straight up, look at the interest over time. If something didn't work, it's gone. People wouldn't be doing it. But you can see people love it. They get results. It's all about results. You, the people, decide what's worth it. Oh, where was I on this graph when PRF all started? Way back here, way before 2014 is when I started doing it. Of course, I was doing PRP well before that, and then I switched to PRF when I saw the results that you could get versus PRP. PRF was far superior. These are the holy grail of looking younger, feeling better, and as he outlines today, being taken seriously. You see, despite his incredible health and wealth, people still judge him by his appearance. Sound familiar? Well, I face the same scrutiny and the same doubters. But here's the sad fact. As he said, if you don't look the part, no one listens. Don't believe me or him. Think of this. Why are there influencers, quote unquote, who now make money from selling you their wares by way of affiliate links on all social media platforms? And then they earn, of course, these commissions, a job that didn't even exist 10 years ago. And by the way, they make millions of dollars. Just look from their travel. In a large part because of the ubiquitous nature of aesthetic treatments, Botox, facelifts, fillers, salmon sperm facial, skin boosters, mesotherapy, all of it. Also, you'll likely know OnlyFans, a very similar industry in that they're making money from, in large part, their looks and their style. Brian Johnson and his journey is proof that looking good isn't just vanity, it's now power. Brian's journey, and yours, of course, is much more than looks. It's proof, though, that looking youthful is a strategy, not just an outcome. Don't back down from the haters or the doubters. Run your own race. It's your journey. Your foundation is eating real food, exercise, get on a consistent skincare routine that suits your budget, and sleep like a baby. That's your foundation. And hopefully I'm helping you in that journey. Now you'll want to watch this video all about red light and how you can rejuvenate not only your face, but your skin and body using red light therapy.